GTA 5 is even better now than it was in 2013 because you now have a wider perspective of gaming, and going back reminds you how rare this level of quality is. Instead of having to watch a long, unskippable cutscene, you're thrown straight into a robbery with a gun in your hand and a fire under your ass. You're introduced to the basic mechanics and ability to switch between the 3 goons you can play as. You subdue the law via violent means and escape via gas-powered automobile. This and that happens and you're hit with the famous opening credits. And unlike with most games, you don't want to skip them, because there's something about the mix of music, scenery, and overall vibe here that just makes them so captivating. The cutscenes here are skippable, but they're fun to watch. The writing is ridiculously entertaining, and the characters are colorful without being cartoonish. You're not watching 2 mannequins talk about the weather. You're taken to a reality that's a parody of our own and watch real people who are flawed, impulsive, and strangely relatable. The 3 goons you play as are violent criminals, but they're also human. Michael's stuck in a midlife crisis, bored, purposeless, disconnected from his family, and dissatisfied with his cushy life after retiring from crime. Franklin's desperate to escape his financial situation and get a slice of the wealth he sees across the city. There's also Trevor. He's an unhinged jackass, but always unapologetically himself. Nobody here is a cardboard cutout. Everybody's a distinct personality. You've got the infamous Lamar, who practically speaks in another language half the time, and the nerd-ass Lester, who looks like someone you want to keep away from the children. The writing strikes a perfect balance between making these characters human while also infusing them with the signature GTA outlandishness without making them too ridiculous to believe in or care about. The automobiles are snappy, and you actually feel a difference in speed, control, and acceleration depending on whether you drive a Ugla Oogla or a crisp Lambo, which is my automobile of choice. I enjoy watching the exhaust spit fire, the crazy acceleration, and driving at breakneck speeds. How this 12-year-old game was able to let you drive cars this fast without short-circuiting, I do not understand. The music selection is massive. My favorite station is Radio Mirror Park, the songs of which now hold a nostalgic quality. You can also fly copters and whatnot, which offers a great sense of freedom and shows you how massive the game's map is. I enjoy going as high as possible and jumping to my death, but oftentimes I'll activate my parachute and enjoy glorious views as I float to the ground, instead of going splat like an egg on cement. Most of the missions here are endlessly entertaining, not only because they're varied, but also because you feel driven from a story and character perspective. You want to see what happens next and hear what comes out next from each goon's smelly mouth. But there are a few missions here that just make you do chores and thus make you feel like you're wasting your time. Why are you doing boring chores in a video game when you can do them in real life and actually reap the fruit from your labor by having clean dishes, an empty garbage can, or a room that doesn't look post-apocalyptic? The city feels alive, but I can't exactly say why. The NPCs aren't especially smart. You can't interact with them like you can in Red Dead Redemption 2. Dynamic world events aren't constantly occurring, and few interiors are accessible. Yet, this still feels like a real place. I reckon it's partly because the cast is so well written that their depth bleeds into the world around them. Real people need a real world to exist in, so if the characters feel real, the city starts to feel real too. It also helps that the game doesn't constantly break immersion. NPCs don't spam the same voice lines, there's barely any glitching or popping, and few things remind you that you're playing a game. It's the lack of immersion-breaking stuff that sells the illusion just as much as the tiny immersion-building details. When you switch between the playable goons, you always catch them in the middle of something, making them feel more like real people, rather than the mere playable programs that they are. In terms of gameplay, you do have the classic Rockstar controls here, which means having to tap a button like a monkey to sprint, and having to auto-aim, which makes the game practically play itself. Yes, you can turn it off in the settings, but the game wasn't optimized for it, so trying to free aim will give you an aneurysm. While the gameplay is fun enough, in classic Rockstar fashion, the bare balls, autopilot, gunplay, and clunky combat and controls are still the weakest part of the game. Even so, this is one of those rare games that retains its premium, luxurious feel over a decade later, and in some ways it's even more enjoyable now because it's infused with nostalgia. You've played a plethora of ass titles since that make you appreciate it more, and you can better resonate with and understand concepts from it that you just couldn't as a young lad.
I swear, man.
Presents, come on, man. Cool out, chill, man.
This motherfucker get on my goddamn nerves.
The nigga get on my nerves too, man. But part of the nigga charm, man. F, come on, man. Let's just bust a move, man. You gonna drive or what, pimp?
Drive where?
Pick up this heat, nigga.
Why?
Business, nigga. Real business. Come on, y'all niggas act like girls.
Shit, not me. Shit.